Hey, great to have you along. I'm meteorologist Jaclyn Whittal, filling in for Emily Vukovic. Probably enjoying some holiday time as we close out summer. I can't believe it, but here it is, Labor Day weekend. We have all your forecast details. We'll talk a little bit about a tropical system that could have impact on Canadian soil. Yes, we're talking about Tropical Storm Hermine, which has been downgraded from a Cat 1 hurricane. Also, we'll talk about the cool down that's going to begin for some. Some have already seen some cool conditions. How about this? Now, did I grab your attention? Yes, it's Labor Day, and yes, that's snowfall. This will be extremely high elevation snowfall, but just know that around 1,600 meters, and that's about where Lake Louise is, you could be seeing some white stuff. Yeah, if you're up there doing some, holiday camping, some snow. So speaking of precipitation, let's go to our rain because we have about 50 to 70 millimeters of rain from northern BC in through portions of northern Alberta, including High Level and Fort Vermilion. So I do expect some soggy conditions. It's an area of low pressure that not only will bring rain on the northern side, but it also brings some very cool temperatures and some severe weather. So potential for hail in eastern Ontario, eastern Alberta. No chance for that for Ontario. It's going to be a good weekend. Isolated severe threat, though, and that'll be with a warm front from about the Paw down through Regina. Now, Regina, I know you're going to be baking in the heat today. You're going to be into the 30s. Big blast of summer weather for you before the storms. Let's talk a little bit more about that tropical system I mentioned. So this is Tropical Storm Hermine. Possibility of having an impact on Canada. We'll talk a little more about that. It may stay offshore. It may move towards Nova Scotia. We'll have all the details, of course, all weekend long. But first, it's time for Chris Murphy to take us through our top 3 videos. Yeah, packing a punch as it does. Thanks, Murph. All right, let's take a look at the actual landfall. It basically was St. Mark's, Florida, where it made the official landfall. Wind speeds of 129 kilometers an hour. Okay, lots to get into, including your poll question of the day. So, okay, I loved the summer. It was a hot one, and I love the heat. What about you? What will be the most memorable part of 2016 summer season? Was it A, the lack of rain? Well, 34% said yes, too much rain. About 14% voted for that. Extreme heat, that's where I was. I was talking about that 37% and late night thunderstorms. You'd think I'd be there, right, Storm Chaser? No, but yeah, I loved the heat this summer. Okay, still coming up, we'll have your local forecast. We'll talk about why hurricanes die and also the latest rewind from Chris St. Clair, a hurricane wedding. Don't go away. More on this Friday. It's a Friday, and we're talking a lot about what is now Tropical Storm Hermine down in the south. Imagine if a tropical storm or a hurricane had an impact on your wedding day. Stay with us. We have a great rewind episode with Chris St. Clair coming up in a second. But let's talk about your pattern. Basically, it's cool in the west and it's warm in the east, and it's a big difference. In fact, as that cold front works its way through today, Calgary on Saturday, you'll be at 17, and then you'll drop down to only 11. Some very chilly overnight lows with this cold front that's working its way through. Should I mention some high elevation snow? Because there is a little in the Rockies. But then out ahead of the jet stream and out ahead of the warmer air, we're going to see severe weather set up. So we do have the potential for some large hail, maybe even an isolated tornado. So let's take you to Stratford, Ontario, where boy, it's absolutely beautiful, isn't it? This looks like a postcard. This was on Thursday. Lots of sunshine, a little bit of cloud cover there as well. But, really hanging on to some warm temperatures other than the last few days for Ontario. But fall is coming, as we know, and some signs of that if you look at this photo in Thunder Bay. Thanks a lot to Ron Bortolin. I hope I said that right. Absolutely beautiful shot. Okay, I want to also talk a little bit about the pattern moving forward in the west, too. We're going to be cooling, as I mentioned, so daytime highs a little bit cooler than where you should be, but get ready for a gorgeous long weekend in the east. We are looking at temperatures that are going to be well above seasonal, plenty of sunshine, so great opportunity to enjoy. That's funny. I remember that day. I was chasing Hurricane Gonzalo with him, and he told us that story. All right, still coming up, your local forecast. We'll have Force of Nature. We'll talk more about Tropical Storm Hermine and your long-range forecast on this Friday. All right, thanks a lot for that, Chrissy Van. I'm meteorologist Jaclyn Whittal with a look at your long-range forecast. Let's talk about where our temperature trend is going to go after Labor Day weekend. Many kids getting back to school. Mid-teens, mid to high teens. That's about it for the west. It's going to be cool. And then high 20s and low 30s for your Friday, but that's not going to last too long as that cold air is kind of lurking upstream. You can see it's spreading eastward, and along that boundary, we're going to see some severe weather too. So quick look at your 7-day forecast for you in Vancouver. It's going to be a little bit cool, a little bit below seasonal, and a bit rainy by midweek. Okay, let's take you to beautiful Niagara on the Lake. Have you ever
might see some thunderstorms, so I can go storm chasing. Maybe I should bring some storm troopers with me. Back inside to you, Rachel.
I like how the one looked around. What are you talking to us? They were so still. They almost look like statues. Yeah, Mark's getting a little excited for some thunderstorms potentially midweek. Well, I'll tell you what you could be excited about. Warm weather in the east. It is going to be nice. Other than you in Newfoundland today, you're going to be relatively fairly cool. But as you can see, a big ridge of high pressure builds into the long range. This is going to be nice. This is going to take us into some very summer-like temperatures to start the first week of school off, especially for folks in Ontario. As far as your 7-day forecast in Halifax, here it is, 20 for Saturday and Sunday. Beautiful, actually. Not until Tuesday that you get into some rain. Then by midweek, you're feeling like the 30s. Montreal, you're going to be feeling very hot as many of the kids are, back into school for maybe their first official week. And then Toronto, look at this, 35 by Tuesday. So there's the summer weather. You know how it is when you get the new school clothes, but you can't wear them yet because you still got to wear your shorts to school, right? Coming up, local forecast, plus we'll have your top 5 countdown to the top hurricanes and Canadian hurricanes, and we'll define summer 2016. Wow, I can't believe it. We are at Labor Day weekend, and I don't know about you, but at this point, sometimes things just go really fast. Like the next thing you know, it's fall leaves and pumpkin spice lattes and Halloween, and then it's Christmas, and everything needs to slow down. All right, summer might be coming to sort of an unofficial end, but we've got lots of summer weather to tell you about. I'm meteorologist Jaclyn Whittal. I'm in for Emily today. Labor Day forecast, we'll have your details on that. Not looking bad for many, especially if you don't live in the southeastern United States, because they're dealing with Hermine, the tropical storm now, but it was a Category 1 hurricane. I'll tell you about that. And the cool down that's on the way. Yes, we're looking at some high elevation snowfall, about 1,700 meters. That's about where Lake Louise sits. So you could see some right in the village. Out ahead of it, we have warm air, but that's the cold air wrapping in behind the area of low pressure. With the northern side of this low pressure system, we're going to see some heavy rain. Fort Nelson, high level. We're looking at the potential for upwards to 70 millimeters of rain. So not a bad thing this time of year. Rainfall could be a good thing, and certainly the farmers are happy to see that. Isolated severe threat, though, too much of anything isn't a good thing. We could get some heavy downpours, some strong wind gusts, even the potential for some large hail, especially in eastern Alberta. So yeah, do expect that and stay on alert. Speaking of alerts, the Tropical Cyclone Information Statement that was released by Environment Canada, basically it encompasses the idea that Tropical Storm Hermine, while it won't be tropical, could have an impact here at home. So, okay, so let's talk a little bit about the system, Hermine, because it made landfall as a Category 1 storm. Basically, it's a tropical storm now with wind speeds of about 95 kilometers an hour. It is going to meander up the eastern seaboard in the U.S. Again, we'll keep a close eye on the potential of what it may or may not do for Atlantic Canada. We're watching you in Nova Scotia. Don't think it's going to have much of an impact, but you never know. All right, so here's a question of the day. You can still answer this, by the way, on our Twitter account at Weather Network. What was your most memorable part of this past summer? Was it the lack of rain? Well, about 34% said yes. Too much rain, 14% answered that one. Here's mine. What I'll remember is the extreme heat. 37% of people agree with me. And late night thunderstorms. I know, Jaclyn's a storm chaser. You say, why aren't you voting for that one? Because this was such an awesome hot summer if you live in the east. Still ahead, we'll talk about your local forecast. Force of nature, of course, is on the way. And inside a hurricane eye. You don't want to miss this. And just like that, summer, well, unofficially is done, right? Kids going back to school probably on Tuesday, last official kick at the can. Maybe you're headed up to the cottage. Well, lots of great conditions to tell you about. I'm meteorologist Jaclyn Whittal. Let's begin this afternoon right across the country. Well, Regina, hello, you're in summer conditions, 32, partly cloudy, a little bit cool in Vancouver. Same for you in Calgary behind a front. I'll talk about that coming up. 27 for Winnipeg, 24 for Toronto, and a couple other cities to have a look at. Gander, Newfoundland, I know you're a little bit cool for sure, but it's not going to hang on that long. You are going to be warming up. In fact, it's going to be the opposite out west. You're going to be cooling down. Calgary on your Saturday, 17, only 11 by Sunday. And out ahead of this warm front, we've got very warm temperatures into the 30s. But what that usually means is an unstable air mass. So we're going to see some thunder showers, even the potential for some large hail or an isolated tornado for portions of Saskatchewan. Okay, let's take you east. And we'll go to Niagara-on-the-Lake. Are you a wine lover? Because you probably love going here if you are. It is absolutely gorgeous, even just for a nice afternoon drive. Highly recommend it, or just stop in and have a little taste tester. I won't say anything. Okay, so let's go in the east. We'll talk about high pressure that is dominating basically. So this ridge is going to be building in the east. Lots of warm temperatures. It's going to be a great weekend. The only thing we're watching is the potential for Tropical Storm Hermine to possibly bring in a little bit of active weather. And boy, did it do that down in the south. Yeah, this is a look at St. Mary's, Georgia. A lot of people have these indoor pool enclosures. And imagine, that'd be scary because I wonder how strong that glass is. It's got very strong hurricane force winds. It did make landfall as a hurricane. It is now a tropical storm. It is now going to meander up the eastern seaboard through the Carolinas, bringing an abundance of rain, upwards maybe 200-300 millimeters of rain, not out of the question. And then it'll move even close to a major city like New York City. So we're going to watch this. Does it have an impact here back at home? We'll have the latest for you on that. But first, I want to talk a little bit about what something, we don't think a lot about. We need hurricane data when we fly into the center of a hurricane. So let's show you what it's actually like. Here's Chris Scott. Sure is. And Hurricane Gaston that was in the Atlantic, 65 miles wide, that eye wall. All right, we'll have more hurricane facts. Plus, we'll talk about campfire safety with Chris St. Clair coming up today. Florida, look at this, just getting hit hard with Hurricane Hermine. It made landfall as a Category 1 storm. It quickly was diminished or downgraded to a tropical storm, and that's likely how it will stay. It'll meander up the eastern seaboard through the mid-Atlantic, bringing some high surf, big-time waves, heavy rain, so it's not all done yet. Could it have an impact on Nova Scotia back here at home? We'll keep an eye on it. Here's your long range. All right, so I want to tell you about the temperatures over the weekend because I can't believe it. Kids are going back to school in many provinces, and it is already, unofficially, our summer is almost done, right? Let's take a look. Temperatures, especially for areas like Toronto, going to get warmer every day of the weekend. And by holiday Monday, it looks pretty nice. 29 for Ottawa, 26 for you in Moncton. Has fall already began out west? Here's Chrissy Van with more. Thanks a lot, Chrissy. Okay, your 7-day forecast for Vancouver. Not bad for the long weekend. Maybe you're going camping. Well, we have some tips with Chris St. Clair on safe camping. Thanks, Chris. I like how he just kept throwing that in and have some marshmallows and maybe some more marshmallows. I love having marshmallows around the campfire. Well, if you're in Edmonton, it's going to be cozy, right? An extra blanket maybe is needed for some outdoor camping. Still coming up, we have lots to talk about. Force of nature and top videos of the day.